letting all the people know that I'm back to run the show. Let's turn up the man. Come on, let's turn up the man. Oh my God.
Before I go into this video, I just want to say, so nobody is confused, because I can hear the aggressive typing right now, but by no means am I saying anything bad about the other Kung Fu Panda movies, alright? I just want to make that clear, because this trilogy is single-handedly the best trilogy I have ever seen, bar none, alright? That's all trilogies you can think of. In my opinion, this is the best one. Not a single one comes close to me. The only one that I would say comes close isn't an actual real trilogy. It was basically from this Reddit post that said what 3 movies could be an unofficial trilogy, and of those 3 movies it was Saving Private Ryan, The Martian, and Interstellar. Which, also a little fun fact, well, it's not really fun, it's more boring. It's just a fact, it's not really fun. But The Martian came out after Interstellar. Interstellar came out in 2014 and The Martian came out in 2015. Which is kind of funny because Interstellar is set in the future. I guess they time travel Interstellar as well. That's not the point. The Kung Fu Panda trilogy is almost perfect. A lot of people don't like number 3, and that's fair. Maybe I'll do a video on that, but I might not need to, because some of the reasons why number 3 wasn't liked could be some of the reasons why number 4 may also not be liked as well. The first reason I'm going to say is, well, I think number 3 was a perfect ending to the whole trilogy. It was well rounded off, and trilogies are really common. I mean, nobody really does quadrilogies for a story. Well, I guess except John Wick. Kung Fu Panda, I think with the 3 movies, it was perfect ending. It just had cleaner ending, really. Not just that, but something I noticed as well is that in each movie, it felt like a part of Po was more complete and healed, more accomplished in each movie. So in the first one, he completed perfection in his physical self and accepting his body and stuff like that. In the second one, he became whole with his heart and his head, connected those two, and accepted the past from what happened, you know, the fact that his parents died and everything that happened in the village. Accepted that. That was also a good ending. I think it could have ended on number 2, but then, like I said, you don't really end a movie on just 2. You have to end it on 3, because it would be nice, cleaner, whole ending, you know? Because one main theme is Po not knowing who he is throughout the whole trilogy. He doesn't really know who he is. And the second one, he kind of knows who he is. I think it was well done. He has an idea of who he is. And the third one, I can see it has a really good reason for existing, because the second one actually had Poe's dad in there saying, you know, he knows his son's alive, so it had to come out. Also, having completed his physical battle with Tai Lung and his mental battle with Shen, and now doing his spiritual battle with Kai for Chi. I don't know, the way it ended everything, it just seemed like it was a perfect ending. The 4th one just is not needed, in my opinion. It's really not. It's unnecessary. I mean, I genuinely have no idea what it could be about the 4th one. Unless, and I hope they don't do this, but it could be about him having a predecessor, so somebody who would just take over his mantle of the Dragon Warrior. I would really hate that if they did that, because it's about Po, the trilogy, you know, the whole series, it's about him. I just kind of hope they don't move away from that. I mean, I guess, yeah, they could, because a lot of times that is done, but I don't know, I just really hope they don't move away from him. Another situation that I could see happening, but also probably not, is very unlikely, probably wouldn't happen, is him having like a really, really dark story. So the whole Furious 5 is like dead or disfigured. I don't know, they had some next fight, Po has to like retrain or something and get his revenge for them, something like that. That'd be crazy, but obviously that wouldn't happen. That'd be way too dark, and also it wouldn't really fit considering how well the 3rd one ended as well. You know, it was complete, everybody was happy. It just wouldn't make much sense. But that brings me to one of my points as to why the 3rd Kung Fu Panda was extremely flawed compared to the 1st and 2nd one, and that is, well, in the 3rd one they just tried to make Po seem unnecessarily younger than he actually is. I mean, there was an 8-year difference between the 1st and the 3rd movie. Now I get they wanted him to still sound young and be a bit young, right, like in his early to mid-20s. I think, I'm not too sure how old he is, but he sounds really, really young in the 3rd one. Like, he still sounds like a child. He acts quite childish sometimes. You would have expected him to grow, because he did grow in the 2nd one and in the 1st one. In each movie he grew, but in the 3rd one he doesn't seem that mature. Like, yeah, he gets serious sometimes when it needs to be serious, but I don't know, he just seems quite young. He sounds younger. The animation, well, I'll go into that in a bit as well, actually. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but yeah, like I said, he's just super childish. I mean, if not more childish than in the 1st one. Okay, like an example would be in the 1st movie, he's exploring, looking at everything, he's excited, you know, he ends up breaking a lot of things, I guess. Looks at everything, touches stuff he shouldn't be touching. He does the exact same thing in the 3rd movie by destroying a bunch of stuff with his dad. You know, you'd think the Dragon Warrior would have some more respect for all this stuff. I guess it's a funny scene, but at the same time, I feel like Poe wouldn't do that. Well, I mean, yeah, he would do it, but he'd still have fun without being disrespectful. I mean, Uguay said that Poe had grown up, but I don't know. It's just not completely grown up. I don't think he's not completely 100% mature. He doesn't have to be 100% mature. It's not really in his character either. But what I am saying is he should be a bit more mature compared to how he was in the Kung Fu Panda 3 itself. He should have been a bit more mature. I really, really hope that they don't make him childish like he is in the third one, in the fourth Kung Fu Panda. Because if they make him childish, it's not going to work. I mean, it would have been 2008 is when the first one came out, or in 2023. That's 10, 15. That's 15 years. He shouldn't sound like a child. He should sound how Jack Black sounds. I mean, Jack Black can do a younger voice, I guess, but he shouldn't sound extremely young like how he did in the third movie. Anyway, the other reason like number 3 wasn't as good as it could have been was also the animation. Now, this is a common theme, I think, amongst all animations in recent times. They just look very childlike, very soft and cartoony. They just look very childish. I mean, obviously they are meant to be childish. I get it, the kid movies, they're not meant to look like a flippant adult, but they just look so soft and weird. Like, okay, like in old animations, animals looked like how animals would look in real life. They wouldn't look like really soft and plushy, I guess, or cartoony. I don't know how to put, like, bubbly. I don't really know how to put it. Whereas in current animation, they look extremely soft and friendly and weird. Like, it's just too soft, I don't know. And yeah, I guess, it's for kids, so fair enough, but that's not the case with how cartoons were when they first came out. I guess, yeah, you could argue animation got better, but I don't know. It just looks less real in a way. They don't look like the actual animals. It's the same with Puss in Boots 2. That's arguably the only issue in the whole movie with Puss in Boots 2 would be the animation, in my opinion. But they did it really well, so I don't have a huge issue with it. It's more like he looked completely different from when he was first introduced in Shrek to how he looks now. It's very, very different, to say the least. I mean, I guess you could say that, he died, so every time he dies, he just looks younger. Well, yeah, that doesn't really make much sense. However, when Puss in Boots did it, it worked really, really well. So I just hope that if they're going to do that in Kung Fu Panda 4, as they did number 3, when they make it look very soft and child-friendly and just very plushy and bubbly, if they do that, then they should make it work like how they did in Puss in Boots 2. I mean, while it still looked quite kiddie, it didn't look all that bad. It worked. It just worked really, really well. I mean, I think also, in another sense, Kung Fu Panda 4 is very similar to Puss in Boots 2, because, I mean, in my opinion, they are both very, very unnecessary sequels. They're not needed. I mean, when I first heard about the Puss in Boots 2 movie, I thought, who cares? Honestly, who cares? It's just a cat in the Shrekverse. People care more about Donkey than they do Puss. Why the hell is he getting so much stuff, Probably because they couldn't afford Eddie Murphy. But then I watched the movie, Puss in Boots 2, and I was so happy about how wrong I was. Because Puss in Boots 2 is honestly the second best kids movie I've watched ever. It's so, so great. So right now, my mindset is the same with Kung Fu Panda 4, like I said, is that it could be really, really good, even though it's extremely unneeded at this point, but it could work out really well, honestly. Because with Puss in Boots, despite everybody looking younger, they had actually aged in Puss in Boots 2. They sounded a bit older. They didn't sound like they were trying to be younger, which would be good if Kung Fu Panda 4 did that as well. They don't try to make them sound younger, I don't know, Jack Black is like 50 now, so maybe he could still sound off. I mean, to be fair, he does still sound young, so I don't know, we'll see how that works, if he can do it. Anyway, going back to my first point, that, I don't know, 3 just wrapped up the whole trilogy really, really well. It was a perfect ending, perfect conclusion to the whole trilogy. I think it could be great. The movie could be amazing, or it could just bomb. It could be terrible. So I'm actually worried. I've never been worried about a movie being released before, but this is the first time I've genuinely been worried about a movie being released. Because if it bombs, or if it's terrible, then that's what it's going to be remembered for. Because the rest of the trilogy, in my opinion, are either perfect movies or near perfect. And if this movie is terrible, then that's what it's going to be remembered for, which will just be sad, because the whole Kung Fu Panda trilogy is so good, and it doesn't deserve a bad rep. But everyone's going to remember it for the fourth one rather than the first one, and the first one is perfect. And it's not that I don't trust the directors, the writers, actors, editors, and stuff like that, but considering Kung Fu Panda 1 to number 3, I just really hope that doesn't happen again, because number 1 is significantly better than number 3, just so much better. So my point is that while the movie can be really good, and I hope it's really good, it's just quite risky, but if it works out well, it will work very, very well. So it's kind of like one of those higher risks, higher rewards kind of thing. Because if it sucks, then it is going to suck hard.